Evelyn Harper stood in the busy arrival hall of the airport, gripping a simple cardboard sign that read Mr. Callahan, her sister's handwriting neat and bold. She glanced at her phone for what felt like the 100th time, rereading Sienna's frantic message. Emergency. Food poisoning from lunch. Can't pick up mom's client. Please go now. Hold the sign with his name. He's flying in from London. This could make or break my business. Please, Evie. Evelyn had barely finished her bookstore shift when her sister's texts started flooding in. Their mother ran a luxury concierge company, and Sienna had recently joined her, determined to prove herself. Missing this pickup would be a huge mistake, so there Evelyn was, in jeans and a soft cardigan, surrounded by sleek travelers in suits, feeling like the odd one out. At 26, she was used to being the backup plan. Sienna was the successful one, elegant, confident, built for their mother's world. Evelyn preferred quiet corners, novels, and hot tea over business meetings. Excuse me, are you waiting for Callahan? Evelyn turned and froze. Before her stood a man in his late 30s, tall, striking, and dressed in a tailored gray coat. His sharp blue eyes met hers, curious but calm. Yes, she said, steadying her voice. Mr. Callahan, I'm Evelyn Harper, filling in for my sister, Sienna. I'll be driving you to your hotel. He paused for a moment, studying her expression, then smiled faintly. I see. Well then, lead the way, Miss Harper. As they walked toward the car, Evelyn replayed everything her sister had texted. British businessman, very wealthy, potential long-term client. No pressure, right? How was your flight? She asked politely. Long, he replied. Necessary, but I never enjoy flying. What kind of business are you in, Mr. Callahan? Commercial real estate, expanding operations to the U.S., hence this trip. They reached Sienna's sleek sedan, far nicer than Evelyn's old Honda. She silently thanked her sister for that small mercy. As they drove out, he began checking emails on his phone. To fill the silence, Evelyn turned on the classical radio station, something calm and sophisticated. Not what I expected, he murmured. Oh, the music? I can change it. No, he said with a small smile. I meant you, the service. I was expecting a uniformed driver, not someone quite so personal. Evelyn laughed softly. This was last minute. My sister's sick. I'm just the emergency replacement. But I promise, I'm a safe driver, even if I'm not the professional type. He chuckled, genuinely amused. Honesty. That's rare. Most people pretend everything's perfect. You don't. I've never been good at pretending, Evelyn said. Probably why I work in a bookstore instead of my family's business. A bookstore. His interest sparked. That sounds peaceful. What kind? An independent shop in the arts district. We do readings, book clubs, that sort of thing. It's quiet, and I love it. More interesting than my usual chauffeurs, he said, smiling. So tell me, what are you reading right now? That single question changed everything. They talked the whole drive about literature, favorite authors, life philosophies. He wasn't just wealthy, he was thoughtful. He read poetry and quoted modern authors like someone who genuinely cared about words. You're not what I expected either, Evelyn admitted. Most of my mother's clients only talk about money. People assume success means being shallow, he said quietly. But lately, I've realized success means nothing if you have no one to share it with. There was a trace of sadness in his voice. For the first time, he looked less like a powerful CEO and more like a man, lonely in his own success. They reached his hotel. Evelyn smiled. I hope your emergency driver was satisfactory, Mr. Callahan. More than satisfactory, he said warmly. Honestly, it was the best airport pickup I've ever had. Then, before she could even respond, have dinner with me. Evelyn blinked. Dinner? But you're a client. Not tonight. Tonight, I'm just someone who finally had a real conversation. Her heart skipped. Against her better judgment, she agreed. That night, they met at a quiet, cozy restaurant, far from the polished image his wealth suggested. Over dinner, They shared stories. He told her about growing up in Ireland, losing his parents, building everything from scratch. She opened up about always feeling like the ordinary sister, the one who didn't quite belong in her mother's world. Why do I feel like I can tell you things I've never told anyone? He asked. Maybe because this wasn't supposed to happen, she said softly. We're both off script. He hesitated. Then I should tell you something. I'm not your mother's client. Evelyn froze. What? My name is Kieran Callahan. I am from London, but I'm not the Mr. Callahan your sister was supposed to pick up. I saw the sign and thought you were my driver. By the time I realized, we were already talking, and I didn't want it to end. Evelyn's jaw dropped. You mean I picked up the wrong Callahan? Yes, but the right one for me, I think, he said with a sheepish smile. He had already checked on the real client, who, thankfully, had been picked up by another service. I felt awful, Kieran said. But Evelyn, I'm not sorry it happened. Meeting you reminded me what it feels like to be seen again. Evelyn didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but deep down, she felt the same. They saw each other every day that week. Walks through the park, coffee shops, bookstores, simple things that felt like magic. One evening, as they sat in her bookstore after hours, he looked at her and said, I'm supposed to fly back Sunday. Come with me. She laughed in disbelief. We've known each other a week. I know, but it's been the most honest week of my life. I think I'm falling in love with you. Evelyn's heart raced. You were never supposed to be in my life. Maybe the best things happen when they're not supposed to, he said, taking her hands. Maybe I was meant to be the wrong Mr. Callahan, so I could find you. Kieran never left that Sunday. He built his life between London and Evelyn City, spending months with her at a time. 6 months later, he proposed at the same airport where it all began, holding a sign that read, Will you marry the wrong Mr. Callahan? At their wedding, Sienna joked, I always told Evelyn to help more with the family business, didn't think it'd lead to a husband. Years later, when people asked how they met, they just smile, because sometimes fate doesn't make mistakes, it just takes the scenic route. And that day, Evelyn learned that picking up the wrong person might just lead you to the right kind of forever.